Yeah, my Inner Revolution book. Yeah, I still think that. Definitely. But we just subverted it that we're under the control of warmongers at the moment, of war criminals, actually. They are controlling us and taking all the money and taking all the energy, and they've controlled the media, propaganda vehicle, and so on. They have turned it into, basically. And but they are kind of desperate, though, because they're doing that, but they're not getting anywhere, and the people are getting more and more sick of it, and the people were fooled into it and frightened into it in various ways. But I think that's kind of, it's the darkness before the dawn. I think the people will really refuse at some point at this rate, because the Cold War, they were kind of happy in the Cold War, these criminal people, because they had a big enemy that they could promote that they were afraid of. They were very unhappy at the end of World War II because we won. So therefore there was no need. Always in American history before that, as Gore Vidal brilliantly says, we always demobilized. But in 1947, Truman and others decided that they would create this enemy in the Russians, our former great allies, who helped us beat the Germans, actually. And the Italians was really the Russians, were a major factor. And they were our major allies, and suddenly turned them into the devil, and threatened them with our nuclear weapons, which then caused them to build up nuclear. Then we could have an arms race with them, then make them an enemy, then have all these proxy wars, and the happy days for the military of 40 years of Cold War. Then finally it stopped, and they didn't know what to do during Bush 1. No more Cold War, no more things. Even Bush 1 had the temerity, the old warrior CIA guy that he is, to say we might have a peace dividend. And he's talking there to all the poor people in America, all the people with no decent roads and schools and train systems and all the horribly deteriorated infrastructure that the U.S. now is a victim of, like a fourth world country. But no, there's no peace dividend, because the old Secretary of Defense, Darth Cheney, writes up a big program for world conquest. And so everybody's our enemy suddenly then. So it's even better. We've only had the Russians before. Now suddenly everybody's our enemy. And then it's got to find some people, okay, we'll attack Iraq, we'll attack here and there, we'll conquer from Iraq to central Russia, and get all the oil, I mean, it's a ridiculous thing he wrote in 1991, which they've been doing now in 2000 with the poor son who's just a party animal who just, wants to sniff coke and have fun. And they just put him up there, and he's going like this, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And he's leading the charge of these complete World War II lunatics who are criminals, really, basically. Themselves, they're war criminals. But my point is that the incompetence of their way of going about it shows how desperate they are, because the system that they sit astride of is no longer functional. Do you know what I mean? 100 years ago, 200 years ago, in the time of imperialism, colonialism, you could win a war. And that's defined by von Clausewitz, the war theorist, as meaning you don't just beat the enemy's army, you then make the enemy's population do what you want, and you have a colonial empire. And they produce goods for you, and they do things for you, because then you can subdue them. But nobody can subdue anybody now. They just don't get subdued. Even a bunch of guys, we saw that in Vietnam, a bunch of guys wearing silk black little pajamas, running around in pajamas, kicked us right out of their country. People were falling off the side of ships in Da Nang Harbor, falling off helicopters and stuff. Bunch of guys in pajamas.